Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be having a discussion video, and a lot of you guys have been sending me this specific video over on the Discord, but nonetheless it really comes down to having this topic of Yu-Gi-Oh is dying or Yu-Gi-Oh is dead. This all stems from another content creator, MegaCaptialG, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. Me and him disagree on a lot of different points. If you wanted this video to be a roast video, it's not necessarily going to be that. However, I will disagree with some points. I will actually agree with him with some of the points, which I know it's rare. But there's a huge topic over here of Yu-Gi-Oh is dead in 2020. Now, a lot of you guys were like, yo, you predicted the future, because in 2016, I said that Yu-Gi-Oh was a dying game. And there's a huge difference between saying that the game is dying or if the game is dead. What I consider, first off, to be a dead game is something where you cannot even get a match because there's simply no players that exist. Yu-Gi-Oh is not in a state right now where you cannot get a game. You can go on YuGiOh Pro, or you can go on a Dueling Book. Heck, you can go on Duel Links or whatever the case may be, and you can get Yu-Gi-Oh games. Like, it's not impossible to get a game, was what I'm saying. So I think to make the argument Yu-Gi-Oh is a dead game versus Yu-Gi-Oh is a dying game are two different things. While I will say that the game isn't necessarily as popular as it used to be. Back in the day when Dueling Network was at its peak, there was 10,000 plus people on. Now sometimes it's very rare to even hit that 1K mark. And that is because sometimes the player base is split up. We have YuGiOh Pro. We also have a lot of players that left and maybe played Duel Links. There's speed duels. There's other ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And it does technically divide the player base, but I'm sure that it is not as popular as it used to be. Heck, you can make the argument that Fortnite is a dying game because at the peak, you know, there were so many more people that were interested in the topic and the game that if you looked at the stats now, it's completely different. And that's totally fine. But to say the game is dead, I think it's kind of a stretch. That's what I would, personally say. But I'm here to respond to some of the things that he has mentioned. So, first off, he mentions 10-minute combos and 50 negates. Heck, I will agree with that. My video that I made that is one of the most popular videos on my channel here, and if you guys haven't checked that out, I highly recommend you guys check that out. I'll pin it down below. But this is why people leave Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the 10-minute combos, no interaction. It's your turn, I have 50 negates. It's not fun, and that's not enjoyable. Well, there are cards like Nibiru that do exist in the game that you can slap onto your opponent. At that point, well, he just lost his entire board. Now he loses, and he's like, well, this game isn't fun. That card's OP. That's just kind of how it is right now. And there are different formats that even back in the day when they would set up and flip up oppression, that was game just straight up right there. Now, that's not super common to be like established insane board flip up oppression compared to nowadays with Yu-Gi-Oh! So many different combo decks. We'll go ahead and throw up multiple negates and say pass, and it's very consistent to go ahead and do that. But, I'll agree with him on the 10-minute combos and also the amount of negates that just simply exist in the consistency in the game. So, I got that. He also mentioned that a lot of other Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creators, he said, like, when's the last time you actually, played Yu-Gi-Oh!, uploaded content just for the love of it? The thing is, as any content creator, it's our job, right? At the end of the day, there is certain things that need to be met for us to go ahead and continuously create content, because if we're not getting paid for our content, there's very little incentive for us to create content. That's not to say that we can't create content and still enjoy it at the same time. Maybe you are enjoying it, and that's totally cool. Sometimes, I get burnt out of any game in general. It's not even Yu-Gi-Oh! You get bored of a game, and, as a content creator, you still think that you want to make content, or you need to make content because it's kind of your job. But at the end of the day, I still enjoy low-rated duelists. Like, I have such a good time watching these random decks go off and just things that you wouldn't normally see. I enjoy that a lot more than I enjoy seeing this best deck versus this best deck. And a lot of you guys that have complained about the meta in the game maybe want to just upload just random stuff that I think is more enjoyable. However, I want to say at the end of the day, meta stuff probably gets more views. I stopped doing meta stuff just so I can kind of gauge the audience, and I would say that most people are still mostly interested in meta, to be honest. Once in a while it's great to break it up, but I'll start to do a little bit more meta stuff in the game because I know some of you guys do enjoy seeing that, and that's where majority of the players are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just in general. He mentioned that due to everything going on, obviously there's no events, this is hurting the game, and while I will agree with him with that, I already talked about remote duels, and I just think remote duels isn't the best option here. The reason why is because you have other things like Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist League Evolution. Why not make that the official game? The reason why is because they still want to push product. Now, I understand as a company, you want to go ahead and have this remote duel simply due to that. Although there's lots of people that are proxying cards and doing whatever with the whole remote duel situation. Obviously, it's kind of the best that we have in the sense where we're still able to physically, like, have cards, if that makes sense, and still purchase product. But at the end of the day, yeah, you can't go to events, you can't trade. There's less, things going on around in the community. Therefore, I'll agree with him that with everything going on and the tournaments not going off, that's not going to be helping your game. That's only going to hurt. But I think this would be one of the best times for them to go ahead and release a official Yu-Gi-Oh game. This is like a huge deal for the game. Why is there still no official Yu-Gi-Oh game that constantly gets updates, just like Hearthstone, just like Magic the Gathering? Why don't they have one for Yu-Gi-Oh? Still a question that will never be answered. You know why? Because in a year later, if you guys have played any of the Tag Force games on the PSP, like, they just released the same game with a new update, and instead of just giving you the update to hit download, they're like, buy the whole new game, right? If I was to actually edit this video, I'd throw in that Mr. Krabs clip money. But, like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it feels like. Maybe there's another reason, but at the end of the day, I feel like they could just update some of the Yu-Gi-Oh games and just update Link Evolution or make an official game. Make it the final game so we can play Yu-Gi-Oh online. There is no way to play Yu-Gi-Oh online officially. With, like, again, the most recent sets and all that stuff. But even if they did do that, you'd have to buy the cards, people would complain, but at the end of the day, I still think it's better. But, anyways, as far as dueling online, because this is one of his complaints, that you don't get to see the player's reaction. Well, yeah, unless, of course, you're playing remote duels, which I think at the end of the day aren't as good as playing in real life, going to these events and stuff. It's just much better. And as far as going to events in general, if you look at a lot of the OG Yu-Gi-Oh players, they've moved on to other things and or just vend cards. The reason why it's just not sustainable to be a pro Yu-Gi-Oh player. And the reason why I put pro in quotations is because you can't really make it a profession to be a pro Yu-Gi-Oh player. Like, there's just not enough money, there's not enough prize pool to support it. When you go to an event, you'll make way more money if you play for cash. Not that I have ever done that, Kappa, but or you could go just vend cards, and you'll make way more money than you would have if you even got first place. When you have to pay for a hotel for multiple days, that flight, your deck, you're looking at easily over $1,000, especially when some of these cards are several $100s and you need 3 copies of Lightning Star. But you know what I mean? I'm just saying that there's very little incentives for some of these people to continuously play this game, as it is in a very expensive hobby. The other thing you mentioned was Crystron, Needle Fiber, the Link Cross, Auroradon. It ruins the game, it ruined the format. And the thing is there's always broken things in this game. Is this your first time playing Yu-Gi-Oh? I mean, Spellbook of Judgment, Firewall, Summon Sorcerer's Nightmare, Mermaid, there's always been broken Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the game. And this is just how Yu-Gi-Oh is. I'm surprised. I don't really mean to say this in a mean way, but why did it take you this long to understand that there's always going to be broken cards in this game? And you know what happens to them? They get banned, and then we have to buy the new broken stuff. Like, it's just so simple as any card game. That's such a simple concept that I'm surprised, again, that it took you so long to understand that this is not... He said that broken cards... He said that certain cards were a mistake, and that's why they banned them. No, they banned them so then you have to buy the new stuff that's broken. That's just how this business model works. But again, that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh has been. But at the end of the day, if you don't have fun playing in a certain format because of all the negates and stuff, and like I said, it goes really similar to my video of saying that the game in its state where it's just like a bunch of negates and stuff like that, whatever. I mean, there's people hosting games that say no synchro, no dark magic circle. Like, there's so many people hosting games with separate formats. If you really want to play in those formats, you could just join those games, or you could host those games if you don't like the current format, if you want to have a little bit more fun. But at the end of the day, I understand a lot of people are interested in the meta, and if you just host a game, most people want to win their games, so they're gonna play meta. That's just how it is. And then he mentions that the Numerons coming out, those are broken, okay? The Dragon with, of course, the Predaplant, just to go ahead and get out the Dragon Magician, pop double cards, burn, immune to everything. That card is really, really OP. And there's always going to be cards that are super OP. And again, it goes back to the same thing. They go ahead and ban, let's say, Needle Fiber, and then the new combo is, okay, go Predaplant, make this card, and then that's the new thing. That card, the older card is banned, the new card's at triple, run triple, let's go. Then it gets banned, there's a new thing, you move on. That's just how the business and the cycle of Yu-Gi-Oh works. He mentioned that people aren't having fun. Again, I mentioned that most people have more fun when they're winning. I enjoy playing stupid decks up against meta. Heck, I just showed that Ice Barrier deck that was hilarious. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll pin it down below as well. But the thing is, it does take a long time. I ain't gonna say that, like, some of these stupid deck duels aren't just like, I record once and, it goes off successfully. Doing low-rated duels is very difficult. Sometimes I have to record for several hours, and I still get 0 footage because it's just not good enough, right? But as far as many people don't enjoy the game, is how he put it. there are less people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, but the people who are playing are more than likely enjoying it. I mean, there's so many other games that are free to play these days that if they wanted to play those, they can go ahead and play those. Like I mentioned before, if we're comparing it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the Dueling Network days, yes, the game was much more popular, but if you don't enjoy the game, there are other people that are enjoying the game. And I think what it comes down to is I feel like you might not enjoy the format, maybe you're burnt out, and as a content creator, I totally understand how that feels to be burnt out of one game, and your viewers want to see that game, and sometimes I just don't want to play that game, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a dead game where you can't get any games. Is the game less popular? Yes. Is it not fun for some players? Yes. But that is always something that is evident in any format. Sometimes if a format's not fun, you come back to it. But looking into the Yu-Gi-Oh's future, there is a lot of room to be fixed, I would say. But I feel like that's a topic for another day. This one was mainly focusing on his points and me agreeing / disagreeing with some of the points that he's made. I'm curious to know how you guys feel about the game. Do you guys feel like it's dead, or is it dying? Or really, how is your overall thoughts on this format, and what do you think is going to be happening with the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! The way I see it was, obviously we have those rush duels that are in the OCG. We'll see if they make it here in the TCG, but I think that overall they're reprinting so many vanillas to the point where, like, it's almost looking like, you know how Duel Links was, oh, it's kind of a slower format, you don't have as many OP cards, and they start slamming on these all crazy cards, and it's just like, oh, okay, it's a little bit OP. It's feeling maybe like a more easier transition from Duel Links to regular Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's their intention with it. But at the end of the day, we'll see where it goes with the new Master Rule or whatever they introduce as the newer cards in 2020, 2021, wherever they introduce it. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion videos like this in the future. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.